Okay, let's put ourselves in the shoes of the baby boomers today, okay? Just for a second. I bet you they would have never saw the day where all their 420 needs would have been met through delivery. If you haven't heard of Camp Nova, go check them out online at campnovaonline.com. Enter the code Nova Flavors to get 15% off your first order. That is NOVAFLAVORS. Nova Flavors. Go check them out today, guys. All right. With that being said, I'm going to spark up some key lime pie here. Get nice and toasty for this episode. Yeah, whoa, yeah. You are now in the flavor layer. So roll up some good flavors. Yeah. You are now in the flavor layer. Now in the flavor layer. You are now in the flavor layer. You're now in the flavor layer. So roll up some good flavors. Yeah. So roll up some good flavors. Yeah. You're now in the flavor layer. Yeah, that's tight. I just made that beat this morning right before I hopped on this podcast. I gotta say, I love learning, guys. I'm waking bacon with you guys today. Like I was saying, I love learning. And lately I've been doing a deep dive on hip hop production. I feel like that's something that I was really lacking in my arsenal of skills. So I went on slatedigital.com with the plugins that I use, and it comes with a free deep dive. It's called Slate Academy. If you're into sound production and you're looking for a good plugin kit, the Slate Digital All Access Pass is the bundle, man. I'm telling you, and this is not even no sponsor or nothing. I'm just being real. I'm trying to look out for you guys, for the few out there that are, looking to start their own podcast, music production. I also been doing their deep dive on vocal production and vocal recording. So I feel like it's been paying off majorly. I've been really digging the beats that I've been cooking up. So that's really something that I've been proud of lately. I want to ask you guys, who is going to be the first to email me? DannyDistro11@gmail.com. I'll say it again. DannyDistro11@gmail.com. Okay, I need some emails. I need voice memos especially. That's what I would really like. If you have questions, comments, concerns, like I said before, just hit that email. All right, sorry, I had to find my lighter here. Got to get this Jeffrey going again. I have a bad habit of, going on a rant and just letting this thing go out. But I definitely need my herbs, especially in the morning here. Yeah. Okay, so let's get into our first topic today, okay? And it's going to be about death, okay? But stop. It's not negative. It's not gory, okay? I want to talk about how humans are afraid of death, and should we be afraid of death, okay? I've been watching a lot of things on TV lately that, are talking about the afterlife. I watched some stuff on Netflix about the afterlife. Definitely, if you're into that kind of stuff, go check it out. It really makes the brain spin. It makes me think about, like, what comes after this life, right? And when I start thinking about that stuff, I feel like I get vulnerable and I get scared of death. And I think, should us humans be afraid of death? And the answer, to me at least, I think is yes, to a certain extent, because being afraid of death is what keeps us alive. It gives us the will to want to survive, right? But there's some people in this world that just aren't afraid of death. And I can't get these people. Like, I don't like flying. I don't like heights. I'll admit it straight off top. Like, I am afraid of heights, dude. I hate being in a plane. I just don't like it. I don't have any control. I don't know what's going on in the cockpit. I'm always sitting there like my palms are sweating and I'm just looking out the window, and that's a long way down, man. And just the fact that I don't have any control, and I'm not a control freak, but it's just like sitting there, like when you're driving a car, okay, you have control, right? And I know a lot of people say, well, flying in a plane statistically is safer than driving in a car. But that's just because there's a bunch of dumb drivers out there, and drunk drivers, and people driving on drugs, etc. There's not pilots up in the air just getting super wasted and flying around and, doing donuts and stuff, if there was, then I definitely wouldn't fly. That would be great. The only person I can think of is Denzel in that one movie. That was hard. How he flew that thing upside down and saved that thing. Like, man, and he was wasted. So Denzel's my favorite actor. But let's get back to the point here. The fear of death keeps us alive, right? It makes us want to survive. But too much fear can limit your experiences, right? So again, what I get back to is balance, right? You got to find a balance between knowing when to live a little and knowing when to be careful, right? Because you got to live in the middle. If you live on one side or the other, you either die from being too crazy and extreme or you just live a miserable life, right? So you got to find balance. I feel like that's something that I am starting to notice more as I get older. Maybe they call that wisdom, but noticing that you need balance in life with pretty much everything, right? Is just so crucial. And this topic especially because I feel like a lot of people hinder what they do in life because they're so afraid that, they might die. And then you got your people that are just like not scared of anything, right? And I envy these people because I feel like they just they live that adrenaline rush. They live that just adrenaline junkie life, right? People like this are like base jumpers, skydivers, tightrope walkers, parkour people, evil Knievel, hijackers, suicide bombers, you name it, right? And like those people, like I don't understand it. Like for example, the people that hijacked the planes on 9/11. I talk about this because I just watched a big series on it and the George Bush interview on it. If you haven't seen that, go check it out, because I don't know if you guys remember the movie or the documentary Lost Change that came out. It came out when I was in like high school. And it was pretty much a conspiracy against 9/11 that pretty much spinned a lot of stuff. But, the more you fact check it, the more that you kind of see that it could probably just be a conspiracy, but you never know, man. You never really know what goes on behind closed doors. We all know these governments are corrupt at somewhat, like at somewhat of a level, they're corrupt. But, watching the 9/11 series and the George Bush interview, just kind of got me thinking about that again, right? And then this tied into it because the suicide bombers, they like I don't understand it, dude. They literally think that they were put on this planet to die. Like those guys were put here to fly those planes into those buildings. And it's crazy because I fear death so much. Like I couldn't do something like that. I just couldn't do it straight up. I could not fly that plane into that building. And I don't know how anybody could do something like that because you literally know you wake up that day, okay, and you're going to die. What kind of feeling is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, what does that feel like? Knowing that you're going to meet your maker at the end of the day or sometime during that day. That must be a pretty crazy feeling in my eyes. Whew, that's pretty deep. All right, so these people are obviously on the top end of the spectrum where they just have no appreciation for life and they will die for the cause and they're not scared of death, right? But then you have people on the other end of the spectrum, like my grandma, who really just lived such a conservative life and she didn't take any chances, right? And she just lived, honestly, I want to say, like, she didn't seem happy to me. All right. So I want to say that she lived like a pretty conservative but miserable life. And God rest her soul. I love her. But, I'm just being real. And, I feel like the older generations were kind of somewhat more victim to that than us because we have all these tools to help us grow and they're all at our disposal. The internet, all this stuff just creates so much more opportunity than the people in the past had. Right. But getting back to just that conservative, going nowhere, not taking any chances in life, right? Because you got to take chances, okay? You definitely have to take chances. You just have to try to minimize the risk in your chances, okay? Which is something that I have not been that great at. But that's okay because I'm starting to learn, I'm starting to see, and now the chances that I take in the future will be more planned, more, routed. I'm not just going to shoot just wildly, I'm going to take my aim, set up, see my target, see my goal, conquer it, and boom, take the shot. You know what I'm saying? That you got to take an approach with everything. And that's something that I'm learning, right? Like, just because I have failed up to this point does not mean that I'm going to keep failing. You just got to keep swinging the bat. You got to keep stepping in the box and taking those pitches until you get your pitch and then you knock it out of the park. Like, just because I talk about how money is ruining the world doesn't mean that I don't want it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I definitely want it. Trust me. And I'm trying to get it every day and I'm trying to think of new ideas to get it because you need money. You need money. It's a tool to achieve happiness. All right. But greed is a totally different thing. And it's like all the greedy people that's where money ruins the world. If you get what I'm saying, I'm kind of coffeeed up. I'm kind of stamped here, stoned and amped, stamped. That's a classic Bobby Alon term, but I'm actually going to fire this thing up and try to, get more on the stone side because I'm pretty amped right now. But you guys feel my drift, right? Money is not what I want to be centered around, but I definitely understand that you need it and I definitely want it. Okay. So let's not get that too twisted up here, right? I just understand that I don't want to be greedy. Like, if you want to be rich money wise, because I feel like you can be rich in other ways in life, but if you want to be rich money wise, there's a pretty easy formula on how to do this. And, I haven't achieved it yet. Even though I know it, it's funny. That's like one of the worst mistakes is when you know something is bad and you keep doing it. So dumb, right? But like, the formula is minimize your expenses while increasing your profit. Minimize your expenses by increasing your profit. Yes, I said it again. Think about it. Because in my past, I have been so bad at like, yeah, okay, I'm making a lot of money. That means I can spend a lot of money. No, no. Like, dude, I am giving myself the biggest fucking donkey kick in the forehead right now for not putting all the money that I made in the past while shit was good into like Bitcoin and stocks. Because I would not be in the predicament that I am in right now. And it kills me, man. Like, oh, it makes me so mad, dude. But that's negative. Just got to let that shit go. Like, trust me, it gets to me some days. I didn't have that good of a week, guys. I want to almost say I took a step back. And I'm sitting here preaching and saying, never take a step back, always forward, always keep moving on. And then I sit here and I just get engulfed and I sink into a hole and I took a step back. But I'm not doing that. I caught myself. You know what I'm saying? It's like I was falling back, but I put my hand back. Boom. I Heisman that motherfucker. And now I'm back on my feet going forward. Right. And it feels good. It feels good because I balanced myself. I was leaning one way and then, ooh, I tipped the scale and I came back to the center and now I'm balanced again. And now I'm ready to move forward. But yeah, anyways, back to my point. A lot of people forget about expenses, man, including myself. So if you're one of these people, or even if you're not, just be more conscious of your expenses. Just because you make a ton of money does not mean you should spend it all, man, because that money's not guaranteed to keep coming in. I don't care who you are, because I'm sorry to say, but look at this pandemic. I bet you a lot of people went into this thing with a job that they thought that they would never, ever, ever lose. And then poof, they lost it. They got laid off. And it's like that job security is gone. And that job security is what keeps so many people happy today, right? Because it's their money and you need money to buy food, to take care of the kids, to pay the mortgage. Like, I get it, right? I get it. You need money in this world to survive. And when that job security is gone, like, oh man, that is the worst. That is the worst feeling to have. And I'm sure a lot of people are feeling it right now. But being self-employed my whole life, being a so-called whatever entrepreneur, um, I've had this feeling my whole life, like my next check's not guaranteed. And when you have that feeling of not knowing whether you're going to get your next check or not, it's like, dude, that is a type of stress that, like, it's just unexplainable. It's so heavy and it just weighs on you, and it messes up your sleep, and it, it really messes with your mental health. That's the only way I can put it. And I'm trying to change that. And it's like, but I have this feeling now where it's like I'm 30, and I'm, my whole 20s, if I were to go try and get a job at like Google, just for example, they would ask for my work experience, and I would not have any legit stuff. I would just have a bunch of my own companies that I own. So my job security has never been there. And I feel like that has weighed on my brain and my body so much. I'm feeling the effects of all the stress that I had in my 20s. And I'm just trying to honestly just get rid of it. Just try to simplify life, not make it anything more than it is. Like, we don't even know why we're here. Okay. But we're existing, and we got to try and find purpose. And that's what I'm trying to find. I feel like I was chasing the bag so much. And when you make money, your life, at least for me, it's just not fun because you're constantly chasing it. And then you're spending, and then you got the wrong people around you, and you think you need all these material things to make you fit in. And I don't know. It just led me down a bad path, right? Man, yeah, this key lime pie is really kicking in. It's tasting really nice. But my main message, I guess, that I'm just getting across is look at your expenses, see how high they are. That's all I'm saying. End of point. I'll move on. But I want to stay on the topic of money, or let's call it currency now. I feel like that's a better term for today. Currency, right? Because there's something called cryptocurrency. And I hope y'all know about it because it's kind of booming right now, and it could possibly, somewhat, I see it eventually replacing a lot of current currencies in the world right now. So, on the off shot that you haven't heard of cryptocurrency, please go check it out and think about investing in it. Just maybe. But on the flip side, I read a lot of stuff this week about it, and there was so much like misleading information, or what, me and Shane used to talk about on the real ones, like the news. Literally, one channel will put out something, and then the other one will put out something that completely conflicts what the other one put out. So I read first this week that Bitcoin energy consumption is more than the whole country of Argentina. Okay, which is true. The more I looked into it, it's crazy the amount of energy to run these blockchains and such, right? And then they said that it outweighed the amount of energy that the banks use to run their platforms and whatever, their tellers, their automated tellers, their branches, etc. Okay. Then I read an article that says Bitcoin does not use more energy than the bank servers and tellers and stuff, right? And that it uses or will use. I'm still not too sure of if it will or if it currently is using renewable energy. And they said that the banks use considerably more power to run their network. So please tell me, what am I supposed to believe? Okay. Because I'm sitting here doing my own research like you should. Okay. You shouldn't just listen to somebody else. Right. And I'm not saying that I'm fact checking everybody constantly, but I do my own research. Okay. I read my own articles. I look up everything everything I want to know. I look up myself. I don't just ask somebody. And when I looked into this Bitcoin thing, and I did a decent amount of research. I didn't just look up a few articles. I read quite a few, okay? And there was plenty of conflicting articles. So, what is going on? Like, I want to kind of believe that Bitcoin is a much more efficient currency than the dollar or the euro, etc., than paper currency, cash, right? I want to think that because it's not A, printing money, okay, which isn't from trees, by the way. It's just, I think it's a cotton base. So we're not wasting trees to print money. But I want to think that a digital currency would be more energy efficient and, have a smaller carbon footprint than something that's like physical cash, which cash is starting to become less and less. Like I see cash getting phased out soon, but nonetheless, there is still a ton of cash being printed every year by the Federal Reserve. Okay. But cryptocurrency, and we're talking about Bitcoin here really because that's the main one, but there's a ton of coins. Okay. So go check them out. There's like Ethereum and, there's altcoin, there's Dogecoin, there's a ton of coins, and I'm still not even really sure on what they do. Okay. Like all these coins, they're supposed to like runs. I don't know. I'm not even going to say because I don't know. I'm still doing my own research on it. So if anybody out there knows, drop them in the comments or, send me an email, whatever. But yeah, I'd like to think that as long as it runs on renewable energy at some point or currently, I'm not sure if it does or will, but hopefully it's one of them, then I think it will eventually replace the dollar and all other cash currencies. And I was thinking outside the box. I'm like, man, what if we could just like find a way to, I guess, mine this stuff off solar energy? Like, I don't know why we don't use solar more today. Can somebody please tell me that? Like, why? Maybe it's just not efficient enough. Maybe the equipment's too expensive, to put up, and you don't get the return of electricity that you would need. I don't know. Okay, I'm just trying to think of angles here because what the heck, man? Like, we should be running on solar. Like, dude, the sun is so powerful. And like I said, as long as the return of energy is there, like, what if we could, you know, produce our currency with the sun? That is such a high idea, man. Oh my God. Oh man, I'm sitting here talking about producing money from the sun, guys. That's what some good Doge will do to you, I guess, man. So let's go ahead and smoke more. All right, yeah. So, enough money talk, right? I just like to touch on these things because, I get comments throughout the week from people that are like, man, so you just like hate money? What are you like a broke boy? Or I'm like, no, dude. I'm definitely trying to get money. I'm trying to get my bank account up. So let's let's just make that clear, right? I just don't want to be greedy. I don't want to be evil, okay? Like some of the biggest influencers in my life, especially my younger life, were my football coaches, right? And they instilled some of the best characteristics in me that I'm trying to find again, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like as simple as like I remember my high school coach Morris. He would just tell me, "Get better every day. Get better every day." And I always thought, man, like that ain't possible. It's like a stock. It's like ebbs and flows, valleys. But no, you want to get as close to a slow upward trajectory that never dips. Okay, you don't want it too steep because then you get burnout. You definitely don't want to be going down. You just want to have that slow upward progress. Get better every day. Consistency wins the war, guys. Consistency. Okay. And that's what I'm trying to be better at. And that's why I'm making my daily schedule on my whiteboard. I have, the stocks that I'm interested in. I have an ideas where I just jot them down. It's nice to have that whiteboard there. I've still been using it, even though I feel like I took a step back. this week. I still just stand in front of it, read my ideas, read my random thoughts, look at my daily schedule, see how much stuff I got done, see how much I didn't. You know, I'm trying to just instill that consistency in me to just keep going, keep going, keep going. And don't listen to that negative voice in your head that tells you to stop when stuff doesn't go your way. Cause that is just being a sore loser. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been a sore loser in my life before because I hate losing, man. Like, oh my God, I hate losing. Okay, like when I played football, I hated losing. When I played basketball, baseball, golf, you name it. We could be playing tennis, we could be, I don't know, doing anything, and I don't want to lose. Okay. Video games, I hate losing. I got so mad when I used to live with Shane and I would lose. I got so mad. But so did he, because that's competitiveness. And that's what I feel like my coaches instilled in me, and sports alone just like gave me that that drive to just want to win. Okay, so when I lose in life, oh man, like it just eats at my soul. I don't know if there's anybody out there that feels the same way. I'm sure there is, because it's a very, very, very competitive world these days, especially in the genres of life that I chose, like a music career or a cannabis business, being an entrepreneur, being self employed. All these decisions I made just put me in such a competitive environment, right? Because there's a lot of people out there trying to get rich and not trying to, just obey the man, especially these days. And that space is just growing. And I just, you know, I just wonder if sometimes I should have put my college degree to use. I wonder if I should have just went and got a job right out of college at like Google or Facebook or some big marketing firm in San Francisco, right? I really wonder these things. And like, I feel like some of this is good reflection, but you can't sit in the past forever because that stuff's done. Those decisions are made. I am where I'm at right now, and I just got to make the best of it and get better every day. Get better every day. Okay? Like my coach at Cabrillo, Garrison, he was awesome, man. Like he just instilled like the importance of family to me. Like back then, my family was that team, man. Like, and of course, like my mom and my dad and stuff. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that team was my family. He made it so clear on how important it is to be a family. Like he was there when my stepbrother died, and I'll never forget that game that we played that week after he died. And it just all the boys rallied around me, man, and we won that game for my brother. And it was just, I don't know, you can't explain that type of feeling. Like it gave me hope that there's something else on the other side of this life, right? Because energy is just borrowed, right? It never dies. Like I don't think energy ever really dies. At least in my mind. I don't know. Physics might say something different, or I might be saying the right thing according to physics. I don't know. I've watched a lot of TV shows and I'm not quite sure. But I'm in my head, my belief, energy is only borrowed. It is never killed. It never ends. Like I feel like our energy goes into some type of different dimension that we just cannot comprehend. Like I think about these weird things all the time, dude. Like we only have so many senses. And within those senses, we only have a like okay, let's take hearing for example. We only have a certain frequency range of hearing, right? Like dogs can hear way past. I think we can only hear up to like 20,000 hertz, 25,000 maybe. Dog whistles are like 30,000 hertz. We can't hear that. Like, what if there's just a ton of noise just so loud around us all the time and we can't even hear it, right? Or what if there's a bunch of stuff around us that we can't even see because our spectrum of seeing, or whatever you call it, our ability to see is only in so many pixels, or you know what I'm getting at? Like, what if there's just a ton of stuff flying around us all the time? We don't even see it. It's like, you really start to wonder, like, like the human brain only has certain capabilities. It has like a ceiling, right? We don't know what that ceiling is yet, but it does have only a certain ability to like hear and see and smell. So think on that. Just think on that this week. That's something I want you to just let that sit with you, let it marinate, let it get nice and juicy, and think about that. So, yeah, my ending message for this, guys, coming back to consistency. Consistency wins the war, okay? Those peaks and those valleys might get you super high at first, with the crazy roller coaster ride that it comes with. It might get you there, but you're eventually going to hit that roller coaster dive, that drop, that that just Top Gun drop at Great America, if you ever been there, that just whoo, right? You're eventually going to do that, but consistency feels so much better. You get better every day, right? Consistency wins the war. That's the message I also want you to ride with for the week. Okay. And the best way to be consistent is to be yourself. It sounds so easy, but every day we're convinced by marketing, etc., that we shouldn't be ourselves, that we should try to do this and try to do that. Like, I've met with people that are like, oh, you're in music? Like, okay, well, what kind of story are you trying to tell? And I look at them and I'm like, what do you mean, dude? Like, I'm not trying to necessarily tell I'm trying to tell my story, whatever that may be. I'm a white boy from the woods of California, just outside the Bay Area, that likes to kick beats and rap and sing. That's the story I'm trying to tell. I've spent a lot of time growing up in Santa Cruz. I love the beach. That's the story I'm trying to tell, man. I came from nothing. I'm proud of it. You know, my mom made a great life for us, but like, we didn't start with much, you know what I'm saying? And to be at the point where I'm at right now, I'm blessed. Even though I don't have much, I still feel blessed because I feel like I have a good road ahead of me. But yeah, the best way to be consistent, guys, is just to be yourself. Seriously. And it sounds so easy, but it's not. So just, if you can work on, I know I am. So try and work on that. Just be yourself. Don't, because then you won't get caught up in the lies and all the drama. And it's just much easier. Like, just think of who you are first and then be that. Just be yourself. I want to shout out my song of the week too. If you guys don't mess with Kevin Gates, if you don't listen to him, you should really give him a shot because he is dope, man. Like, his production, his vocal mixing, his recording, just his delivery, it's so dope. Go check Kevin Gates out, especially the song of the week for the Flavor Lair, Plug Daughter 2. Go check it out. I think it's a dope video too. It looks like it was shot in like Brazil or something like that. The beat knocks and his flow is dope, delivery, just everything. Go check it out. He also has a message at the end of this video that I really fucked with. It said, honestly identifying your weakness by admitting what it is that has power over you, thus allowing it to become one of your greatest strengths. And I'm not even going to really provide any thought or input on this. I just want you to sit with that. I'm going to read it one more time because I really liked it. It made me really reflect. Honestly identifying your weakness by admitting what it is that has power over you, thus allowing it to become one of your greatest strengths. Thank you guys for joining me this week. It might have been a little short, but like I said, I had a bad week. So I'm going to come back at you next week. And hopefully my week was a lot better. But it's in front of me right now. So I'm going to try to make it the best that I can. If you guys have any voice memos, please be the first one to be featured on the show. I think that would be dope. Email me, DannyDistro11@gmail.com. and have a great week, guys. Peace. Yeah, whoa, yeah. You are now in the flavor layer. So roll up some good flavors. Yeah. You are now in the